What's up everyone, Soldier First Class here. In today's mission, we're here to discuss the recent exclusive interview with the developers of Final Fantasy VII Remake. There's a lot of information to go over, so stay tuned soldiers, it's time for our next mission. Before we get started on the interview, Square Enix also released these amazing renders of Reno, Rude, and the Chocobo and Moogle summon. I'll leave a link for their Twitter page in the description below. Now let's get on to the video. We'll begin by discussing Yoshinori Kitase's part of the interview. You can tell just from the words that he's very passionate about this project. In the interview, he talks about being asked repeatedly, and by fans all across the world, when are you making the Final Fantasy VII Remake? He then goes on to state, it was to the point where it was almost like an alternative way to say goodbye, so eventually I started preemptively giving my response to the question before they'd even ask it. If we were to create a remake of that now, it would be an enormous amount of data, and who knows how many years it would take. But if the right time comes along, we might just do it someday. This is how I'd respond back then, who knows how many hundreds of times. To all the people I had a chance to meet with back then, the right time has finally arrived. Kitase then remarks about how amazing it is to have developers from the original game working with new developers that were fans of the original. While ensuring that the spirit of the original game is kept intact, these members are adding to it the power of a new generation. As a result, the game that is about to be born surpasses even my own expectations as the one who voiced the desire to take this endeavor on in the first place. In fact, the one who's looking forward to playing this game the most right now might actually be me. When you have a developer that's excited to play their own game in the artistic direction they had in 1997, you know this game is going to be phenomenal. Now let's move on to Tetsuya Nomura, who had quite a bit to say. According to Nomura, he was considering doing a remake of 7 as the last piece of the compilation. But according to him, he became busy with other projects and the idea went by the wayside. He states, since that initial plan and my first ideas, other projects took shape, and I became very busy as they moved forward, but I never stopped thinking about 7. Neither have we, Nomura. Neither have we. As such, I feel like I'm looking forward to the release as much as anyone, as I've been carrying around these ideas for a long time. Honestly, I think this is what has weakened his reputation in the Square Enix fanbase. Nomura is a dreamer, and he seems to have great projects, and the company needs him elsewhere. He gets pulled off of them, and the end product is never the true intention he had. That's why I believe the remake will be different, and he'll restore the faith we had in him back when Kingdom Hearts 2 released. He then went on to talk about the scale of the first part, the remake as a whole, and the progress they've made on part 2. He stated, opportunities for discussing our true intentions are few, but with regard to the size of the game that many are asking about, there's no reason at all to worry. Even in the Midgar portion alone, the density and volume are so great that I had to give directions to lighten them. This is great news for people that were worried that it will be a 5 to 10 hour experience. When you have to cut things you wanted to be in your game for time purposes, that's a pretty big game on its own, not to mention the 2 full Blu-rays the game will be launching with. Nomura also confirmed that the Motor Ball will not be the final boss of the Final Fantasy VII Remake's first part. It's kinda funny because I released my final boss fight video yesterday morning and Nomura confirmed it shortly after. As for Final Fantasy VII Remake's second part, Nomura stated, we've already begun working on the next one as well, but I'm confident that playing through this title will expand your expectations just like the world that extends beyond Midgar. I covered this a little in the news update video yesterday, but it's incredible that Nomura is putting his whole creative effort into this game. Them also beginning part 2 already makes me confident that the wait won't be as horrible as people are predicting. They appear to have a high morale right now and drive to finish this project because they're killing it right now in the PR department. This was possibly my favorite part of the interview, and it was with the original writer and remake scenario writer Kazushige Nojima. His insight into the character of Cloud is beyond incredible. He stated, it must have been in the very beginning stages of developing Final Fantasy VII Remake that I got to see the remake version of Cloud for the first time. It wasn't post-advent children Cloud with kindness brimming from him. Rather, there was a young man with fiery features looking straight at me through the screen with aggression in his eyes. I knew right then, oh, this is it. This time, it was this Cloud that I needed to depict. When Cloud came to Midgar and was hired by Avalanche, this was the sort of look that he would have had on his face. So I revisited the experiences that he'd had in his life so far, thinking of the effect that each individual event would have on him. His attitude towards his childhood friend Tifa, how would he act towards Barrett? What sort of distance would he keep while interacting with passersby on the street? I pictured the scene of Midgar in my mind and imagined Cloud moving through it. Write new lines of dialogue to add for him. This is how Cloud in the remake version came to be. You can also see the passion in Nojima's words as he tells us how the story will be shown. He stated, in Final Fantasy VII Remake, there will be much less room for player imagination. This fact will probably change the feel of the story considerably. People who know the original might not know quite how to take it, such is the fear that I have, but I also have conviction. It should be possible to feel a much deeper connection to Cloud as you join alongside him. It would be amazing if you could feel that fiery flame together with him. Hopefully Nojima's new vision on a solid base will take off and have a lasting effect like the original did. He wrote the story, he'll definitely know how to treat it. Co-director Naoki Hamaguchi was next, and he discussed how working on Final Fantasy VII Remake felt like it was fate. When the original Final Fantasy VII released, I was just another student who dreamed of being in the gaming industry. I of course played the game, but I also reread the guidebook over and over again, my heart stolen by the engaging universe. I remember wishing strongly that I'd be able to create a game like it someday. 22 years later, that student who dreamed of Final Fantasy VII is now involved in developing the remake. I can't help but feel like it's fate. For me, this is an extremely powerful statement about the original game. A lot of fans out there are promoting negativity about the remake and saying this isn't the game that fans wanted. But if you look at the new developers working on this project, they were all fans of this game growing up and are playing a major role on its outcome. This is truly a game for the fans, made by the fans, so before claiming this game isn't what fans wanted, it might actually be the exact game fans wanted. He then detailed his responsibilities within the co-director role, and it appears he's been super pivotal in its progress. To me, it feels as though this may have been the guy that Nomura needed to keep him on the task at hand. Kitase has also been really heavily involved, and this helps as well. Hats off to Hamaguchi for all his hard work and living his Final Fantasy dreams. There's also been a new co-director added, Motomu Toriyama, who was a planner for the original. He was in charge of the original Sector 7 slums and Wall Market. This time around, it appears he's still in charge of it as he discusses the detail behind it. He also talks about how Final Fantasy VII Remake will feel like a living, breathing world, and the upgrade in technology has allowed them to tell a story they'd never be able to tell in 1997. In Final Fantasy VII Remake, we're using the newest visuals, voice acting, and character facial expressions to redesign the Final Fantasy VII universe to be more realistic. By increasing the realism of the universe within the city of Midgar, which is made prosperous by Mako energy, we of course also reimagine the characters who reside there, like Tifa and Cloud, more vividly as living and breathing human beings, depicting their daily lives and feelings in a more in-depth manner. This is a point I've been driving home since I started this channel. The upgrade in technology will be upping the value of the original story in a way that could never have been done before. That's why I stand by all the changes they've made, because I see them as an improvement upon a legendary foundation. As for his statements about the remake version of Wall Market, he states, "We took care to remake not only the main characters, but also characters like Johnny and the Shinra middle manager who I created back then. Please keep your eye out to see how they make their new appearances." Nice name drop on Johnny by Toriyama. I was really hoping they would mention him, and it's nice to get direct confirmation that he'll actually be returning. Additionally, when remaking the Honeybee Inn at the Wall Market, we revived it as a pantheon of entertainment which couldn't be realized back then. Here the scene that many of you have been eager to see where Cloud disguises himself. Please enjoy. So it would appear that scenes from the Honeybee Inn may not be cut like many have thought. When Nomura said it was being redesigned, it looks as if he meant structurally and not from a censorship standpoint like many have feared. Hopefully this statement from Toriyama is a good sign of things to come. There were a few other people in the interview, but these were pretty much the most important parts. I'll leave a link in the description below so you can check out the full interview on the Square Enix website. Overall, we got a lot of good information and insight into the development of the Final Fantasy VII Remake. It's amazing to hear how much passion they have for the project, and it appears the remake is in good hands. After the information dump we got yesterday, all my doubts about this project are completely gone. Call me blind by fanboyism or just plain dumb, but I can't wait for the Final Fantasy VII Remake. Only 98 days to go. Are you ready, soldiers? Thanks for watching, and don't forget to omni-slash that like button. Let me know in the comments section below what you thought of this interview and if you're excited for the Final Fantasy VII Remake. Subscribe to the channel and ring that notification bell to join the ranks of Soldier today. And for all the latest Final Fantasy VII Remake news, rumors, and trailers, I'm Soldier First Class, and I'm on to the next mission. Later, guys.